Hello, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to Eileen Fisher Women Together. My name is Antoinette, and just as we get started and invite everyone into the room, settling in, you can put your location in the chat, and we can just say hello from wherever we're coming from. I am standing on Lenape land, what is known as Cortlandt Manor, New York, just north of the city, and close to the Hudson River. And we had these moments of springtime sunshine, and then we had little drifts of snow coming in. So I stand in holding these different elements of our transition into springtime, and all of the different transitions we may be holding in this moment in the United States and the world. Just a little background, we have been coming together weekly over the last year in order to really just hold together our community and each other and ourselves in this time of disruption. And really, it was about a year ago that the World Health Organization declared a global pandemic. And really, we came together as a group of women that were already calling ourselves women together, but really to just be there with each other and support one another and share mindfulness practices and ways of centering and being fully ourselves. And what this came from was an experience with Eileen Fisher. So Eileen Fisher, for those of you who may just be joining for the first time, Eileen Fisher is a ethical fashion designer who has been creating clothing that allow us to feel comfortable and confident in our bodies. And this work of Women Together just invites us to go a little bit deeper than the clothing and really step more fully into ourselves. So it's been an absolute joy to hold these spaces where we've brought in teachers and new friends to share with us their practices and their stories. And I look forward to hearing from Whitney Miner today and her story she will share with us, and we will move into a practice together. So we'll do that for the first 30 minutes or so today, and then we will move into our the best part maybe of our time together, which is really getting to connect to each other. And we'll turn into small groups and be able to get to know one another. And I know some of you may have brought your friends, and we'll get to know new friends today, potentially. So it's a wonderful joy to host this conversation together. So we have an incredible assortment of places today. So Massachusetts, Orlando, Florida, Seacliff, New York, San Rafael, California, Chicago. It's winter again in Chicago. Wonderful. Denton, Texas. Send us your sunshine. Cold, rainy DC, Boulder, Colorado, Chicago, New York, Green Bay, Wisconsin, Portland, Oregon. Wonderful. Wow. Laramie, Wyoming. Across the country today. So yeah, we've had people from joining us from across the country. Bronx in the house. Hey, Gloria. Welcome. And from the Bronx to Bronxville and Aventura, Florida. So we're really, Vermont, we're really coming in from across the country. So it's wonderful to have this connection to all of us in all of these different places and spaces. And some of us we've gotten to know, and some of us, have been here week after week, and some are just joining. So a warm welcome to everyone, wherever you may be, in whatever place and space. And just as we hold ourselves in this, on the land that we may be on, and in the community and connection that we get to feel with each other. So we try to do a series of tiny practices. So oftentimes, people will say you need to go to a retreat or have a few days in silence or away from our lives. And what we've done with these Women Together practices is a small hour chunk of time in the week, but also even tinier practices that we can take into any part of our lives. So many of you have different practices that you use during this time or that you can use during this time. And we share a couple that have worked for us. So I will share our entry into a moment of stillness, which we've done at the beginning of all of these conversations. But as I mention every time, that we have these singing bowls that say for conference room use only. And were really meant to be used at the beginning of meetings at Eileen Fisher. Well, prior to that, meant for different forms of prayer and connection and community. And I invite you to move into whatever practice is right for you. And we'll just do a moment of stillness together, just connecting to the land, connecting to the breath, being in this body, and just be in that place together. Often allows us to let go of what came before this moment and really move into being fully present here with each other. So again, if you have a practice that feels right for you, feel free to do that. If you'd like to follow my guidance, feel free to do that as well. So you can, if you'd like, get both feet flat on the ground and just feel the connection of the feet to the earth. Sometimes, as an even tinier practice, I like to lift my toes up and try to put them down one at a time, just to remind myself that I have very little control over things, including all of my toes. So just one toe at a time, just seeing what that feels like to just feel being in the body. And then as you tune in to the body, also feeling into the breath. If you'd like to close your eyes or lower your gaze, you can do that. Just soften the connection with the world and tune in to just the feeling of the breath moving in and out of the nostrils. And I'll ring the sound of the bell to begin our moment of stillness, and I'll ring the sound of the bell to bring us back. Thanks, everyone. Sometimes I feel like that bell itself just kind of clears my mind, my body. So just being with that energy, just what brought you here today? So we can open up the chat if you haven't already done so. So if you're on Zoom, at the bottom of the screen, you can click on chat and a little window will pop up on the right. And you can just let us know what brought you here today to Women Together, or to specifically this topic of nourishing ourselves. And what that means for you. I will share out some of them in a couple of my own thoughts, but much later on my own thoughts today, because we have wonderful Whitney here with us. And I look forward to hearing Whitney's story, but I'll just read a few of these out so we can spark our dialogue together. And if you're on YouTube, you can type directly in the comments and share with us what's coming up for you around this topic or Women Together. So I love Linda just brought in, it's nice to see everyone, that sunshine on this gray day. And I feel similarly that this hour of time together can be sunshine for each other. So thank you for that. Lisa, weekly grounding. This topic is especially of interest. Mary, need my weekly dose of women energy community. Carly, consistency and community. Lynn, building community and support. Marianne, authentic connection with women. Marilyn, self-love. Elaine, my weekly mindfulness and balance. Kala, all 3 kids back in school today, very part-time, first time in a year, feeling discombobulated, I'm guessing. Yeah, I think as these transitions keep happening, we keep holding ourselves, each other, our new routines that keep changing. Kimberly, needed a moment of peace with a group of good intentions. Diane, clear my mind, feel gratitude. Yep. Catherine, I'm trying to work harder and longer with a new schedule. Women Together is scheduled every Tuesday for much needed self-care. Wonderful. AC, beyond connection, deeper nourishing ourselves is fascinating. Barbara, continuing the conversations I had last week that so nourished me. Beautiful. Mary, this is my first time to this group. Welcome. My friend invited me. I love connecting with women around positive energy. It's a joy to have you. And I do hope that you get to have a strong connection with your small group today. Jane, opportunity to care for myself, listen and enjoy other women's thoughts and lives. Wonderful. There's just there are so many wonderful thoughts in here. And Gigliola from Italy, welcome. I definitely need some self-nourishing right now, a nice peaceful moment with other women around the world. Wonderful to have you and reconnecting. Beautiful. Wonderful. Welcome, Teresa. Difficult week, needing to connect with people. Yeah, it's amazing how we go through these kind of roller coasters in the week itself, you know, and even in a day. So just to have a community of connection can feel really good. Wonderful. So there are so many great reasons that we come to this space of connection with each other. And really, I have found these conversations nourishing for me, and just heard from so many of you about how nourishing they have been. And I find actually today someone said to me, as you shift your routine and your energies and connection with people and, you know, all that you're doing, are you eating properly? And are you changing your diet in order to be able to nourish that? And I said, you know, we're doing this conversation today on nourishing ourselves. And I find that, you know, as much as I can be nourished from these conversations and connection and my own meditation or yoga practice, that, you know, it does require really tuning into what is the body needing and wanting and asking for, as I hold these routine shifts and as I hold a lot of the societal shifts that are happening around me. So we have a new friend with us, Whitney Miner. She's a certified holistic nutritionist. She's also a yoga teacher, a wellness advocate, and she's the founder of Eat Plants and Prosper. And she's been really passionate about getting her community to be able to connect with plants and food and plant-based food. And really, you know, just has incredible teaching. So Whitney, I have just enjoyed getting little bits of your teachings through some of the ways that you've shared across social media and the internet. So it's been really wonderful to hear how you talk about consumption and self-care and your own story. So thank you for being here with us. And I turn it over to you for the next 15 minutes or so before we go into our small groups together. So thank you for being here, and over to you.
Thank you so much, Antoinette and Ella, and just the Eileen Fisher Women Together team is just amazing. And then just hearing this amazing group of women and their intentions on today, I'm just honored to be here and truly grateful. Normally, I like to show this picture of me wearing a medical mask for dramatic effect, but that has lost all of the effect that it had because everyone's wearing medical masks now. But I have this picture of myself from an urgent care back in 2018, you know, when people weren't wearing masks, right? I was so sick. And 7 words at that time changed my life. And those words were eat food, not too much, mostly plants. And I heard them in a documentary on Netflix called In Defense of Food. It was March 2018, like I was sharing. This was a couple years ago, and I was down with yet another sinus infection right after having the flu for 3 weeks. So that was just 5 weeks of my life that I was just in the bed, and I was just over it. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. I had been sick my entire life, cold, flu, sinus infection, stomach bugs. My mom would joke that if someone was sick within a 100-mile radius, like I was going to catch it no matter what. I started getting migraines when I was 7 years old. I just lived my life just knowing that at least once a month I was going to be sick. It was normal for me to visit the urgent care, at least once a month. When I went in, they would greet me like Norm from Cheers. They're like, "Hey, Whitney." It's like, this is not what you want to be known for, right? Like everyone in the urgent care knows your name. So as I laid in bed sick, I thought about my 2 daughters and the fact that I wanted to be fully able to participate in their lives. And then shoot, I wanted to be able to fully participate in my own life, right? So I became determined to get well. And so I knew enough to know that my issue was my immune system was, basically like that of a newborn baby, right? My immune system was not doing what it needed to do. And so I started doing some serious research about how to get your body, your immune system where it needs to be. And by serious research, I mean, I picked up my phone and went to Google and started looking for ways to really boost my immune system. Well, I was shocked to find out that 80% of your immune system is in your gut. Did you guys know that? I had no idea. And I know there's some nurses. I saw someone that was a nurse on here that typed in the chat. So I'm sure you may know, but I had no clue that 80% of your immune system was in your gut. So essentially, what you're eating is either making you healthy or making you sick, whether it be a weakened immune system like mine, or high blood pressure, inflammation, diabetes, heart disease, stroke, you have it, right? We name it. During my research, I also discovered that most of the body's serotonin, I believe it's 90% of the serotonin in the body, is produced in the gut as well. So this is super important because serotonin is the key hormone in the body that stabilizes our mood, our feelings of well-being and of happiness. And so for me, this was of particular importance because I was really struggling with anxiety back then as well. And so I really became, intent on how can I boost my immune system, and how can I, make sure that my serotonin levels are normal as well. And everything I read led to and pointed to a plant-based diet as the best way to not only boost your immune system, but also to give you vitality and longevity as you age. And who doesn't want that, right? So I wasn't even sure what a plant-based diet was. I found out that it was a diet that consists of eating minimal animal products and eating mostly vegetables, fruit, whole grains, beans, nuts, and seeds. And I'm just going to be completely honest with you. I was like, who wants to do that? That does not sound fun to me. I am from the Midwest. I grew up, born and raised in Ohio. I ate meat 3 times a day, every day growing up. I drank milk. I'm one of the people that likes the taste of milk, how it tastes. I loved ice cream and pizza. So I'm like, I don't know if I can do this, but more importantly, I don't know if I want to do this, right? It was going to be a huge shift. And so it wasn't an easy decision for me because of what I just stated. And also, I mean, I like to eat. So I'm not someone that, you meet people and they're like, oh, I don't have to eat. Food's just, not very important to them. And for me, as a foodie, I love to eat. Food is like a part of the family. I mean, if you're celebrating something, you go out to eat. If you're mourning something, you go out to eat. Like this is just, food is part of the family. And so this was going to be a huge transition for me, but I was desperate to get healthy. And it was almost begrudgingly I was going to give this a shot. And so I decided that, I was going to try this for 90 days because that's how long it takes to make a lifestyle change. And so I was kind of like, we'll see. If I don't get sick at all, then maybe we'll consider it. Guess what? At the end of 90 days, I had not been to the doctor's office, not one time, not an urgent care in sight. You know, my mother said, I can't remember a time that you went longer, than, maybe 6 weeks without going to the urgent care or the doctor's office in your entire life. So I didn't get sick. Didn't have a migraine. I wasn't on any antibiotics. And on top of that, I had all these pleasant side effects. Like I lost all this weight. My skin was glowing. I was sleeping better. I had all this energy. I had joint pain in my wrist and ankles and knees before that had totally disappeared. My menstrual cycle was back on track, and what it needed to be was much shorter. I had a lot less PMS symptoms. And so, I couldn't deny it. I mean, as good as bacon tasted, I could not deny that I'd rather feel good than, eat food that, was not making me feel good. And so I really couldn't deny it. Eating plant-based not only healed me, but it had me feeling better than ever. And so it really became my purpose to share the transformational benefits of nutrition and how it can help you, mind, body, and spirit, to get to optimal wellness. So we can all experience how, good our bodies are really intended to feel. And so that is why I'm here with you today, to tell you that, your healing is really on the other side of those 7 words. Eat food, not too much, mostly plants. So let's talk about eating food first, because you guys, I know when I heard that, I was like, I eat food every day. Like, what do you mean by eating food? And so I started to come to understand that, there's a difference between, a lot of the foods we're putting in our system, they're just built in a lab. I mean, I'm just going to be completely honest with you, right? I have here an apple. So if you guys could just, a few of you, just play along here and drop in the chat box what the ingredients are in this. So exactly. I see apple. Yes. All right. Apple, Sandra, Mary's apple, right? Just that's it. It's one ingredient. It's apple. Now, I just give you one guess how many ingredients. You got someone, a few people maybe type in how many ingredients they think are in this bag of pizzeria baked pretzel combos made with real cheese, allegedly, is what it says. Made with real cheese. I see 20, 17, 50, 58, 25. Annalise is really close, or Ansley is really close. She said 32. It's 37 ingredients. 37. So you can imagine how simple it is for your body to process this one ingredient versus 37 ingredients. And not only that, I mean, you guys, when I used to be able to do virtual or do sessions in person with people, what I would love to do is call people up and then have someone read the ingredients in this and then give them this and make it a futile attempt to try to read some of these ingredients that are just, I can't pronounce. Probably maybe 85% of these ingredients, I have no idea what they are. And so it's very easy to see that if you're eating more of this than you are of that, how your body gets sick very quickly, right? And so what we have going on in America is an acronym that I love to use. It's called SAD, and it's the Standard American Diet. And this diet consists of, this is from the FDA, these stats, consists of 63% processed food. So most Americans eat 63% of their food comes from something like this. And so we've got to make a shift into eating food that is actually real. And that means food that was from the earth, as minimally processed as possible and with as few ingredients as possible. And one good rule of thumb is that if your great grandmother would not recognize something as food, like, great grandma was not gonna eat this, right? She's not understanding what this is, don't eat it. If it has more than, 7 or 8 ingredients, just think twice, right? So the goal is to eat more of this than this. That's eat food, right? The second rule is not too much. So we really have what going on here in America, what I like to call portion distortion, which means that we just eat way too much. And actually, I keep talking about my mom. She keeps coming up. But I was out with her a couple of years back, and we were getting something to eat, and she asked for a small drink. And they gave her the drink, and she said, I asked for a small drink. And the guy said, ma'am, that is a small. And she said, this would be a large, like, back when I was growing up. And it just really got me to thinking that, it's so true. It's so true. Normally 20 years ago, a serving of soda, I'm from the Midwest, so it's pop. A serving of pop would be 8 ounces. And now the normal is 20 ounces, right? And here's why this is a problem. This can of Coke, this 12-ounce can of Coke has 10 teaspoons of sugar in it. 10. So just because no one knows what that looks like, I have that here. This is how much sugar is in here. So if you're drinking this 1 can of Coke, you're drinking this much sugar. That's already more than your daily, what is daily recommended for you, right? The challenge now is, though, I got this from my local gas station because I couldn't believe it. I saw someone filling their cup up with pop. And this is, I think it's a 32-ounce cup. The only thing that you should be drinking this much of is water, right? And so what happens is, if this is the amount of sugar in just the 12-ounce, just imagine how much sugar we're consuming. We're drinking sweet tea, and we're getting these supersized cups. And so what happens is, the weight comes on and we're getting more and more sick. And so we really got to be careful about, the portion sizes, just watching the portion sizes and being cognizant of the amount that we're consuming, because we are just living in a day and age now where overconsumption is just normalized. It's just what we do. You go to a restaurant, they serve you your own personal meal on what looks like a platter, right? That could serve, 4 or 5 people. It's like, and then we're wondering every year why we're gaining 10 pounds and why, our blood pressure is going through the roof. So we're eating food, we're not eating too much, and then we're eating mostly plants. So I do not expect, everyone to be vegan like me or to, go full time and full on plant-based. But one of the ways that you can make sure that you're getting the amount of fiber that you should is to make sure that you're eating mostly plants. And an easy rule of thumb for that is, I have a plate here. If you fill up half of your plate with vegetables for your meals, this is what your plate should look like, right? Like half of the plate, vegetables. This other half here, you're going to split the other half in between your lean protein and then your whole grains, hopefully. So like your brown rice or, your quinoa. And that is a surefire way to keep you balanced and getting the amount of vegetables that you should be consuming in a day. The issue in America, what we have going on, is that this portion is the meat. This is what we're eating. And then it's like the carb is like this much. And then the vegetable is, and I mean, that's how I grew up with my plates looking like, right? And so if we make the shift and switch into, just those 3 tips, you can really make some dramatic changes in your health. Just being mindful that you're eating more whole foods that come from the earth, that you are eating the appropriate amount, right? Like not too much. And then you're eating mostly plants. And then so following those 3 steps is really the ultimate act of self-care. We talk a lot about self-care these days, and there's no better self-care than actually nourishing your temple that houses your soul, right? And so doing these 3 things will help you get to where you want to be and achieving optimal wellness. And so to get us started in that, I was thinking we could take the next few minutes and maybe write down some positive intentions that you can use to motivate you towards eating more mindfully, so that you can have more energy, you can be refreshed and feel fueled as you're going throughout your day, working your jobs, handling your kids. What are some ways that we can really be intentional about eating more mindfully? And I have an example here that I wrote down. And my example was, I will nourish myself every day with the fuel I need, body, for my mind, body, and spirit. So maybe we can just take a few minutes to just set some intention on how you can fuel yourself to be the best version of you. Yes, someone in the chat asked me if I could repeat the 7 words. The 7 words are: eat food, not too much, mostly plants. I want to thank you, ladies, so much for your time and your attention. And I really, really hope that you guys take the time to nourish your bodies the way that they deserve. You guys deserve it. You are totally worth it. And I'm going to be definitely keeping you guys in my thoughts and prayers moving forward. I wish you guys optimal wellness, health, and peace in your lives.
Whitney, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. And I feel like it's just the drop in the bucket, because I already see so many great questions coming,
Yes.
like how to incorporate some of what you shared with us. And I know that we could keep going with this intention setting and personal practice. So I just really appreciate the inspiration you've shared with us here in this moment. And I don't know what it was that I heard you speaking on, but it was really about consumption and how what we're putting in our bodies and putting in our minds and putting in our spirit and our hearts, that's all part of the same thing. So I just really appreciate how you've been bringing this in. And I know that as the season changes for me, that diet changes too, because, and part of that is local, localizing, like I eat squash in the winter time, and then I wait for summer squash, to come out instead of just eating the same thing every day. So, and I saw some of that coming in, like how many days in a row can I eat sauteed spinach? And that's, I'm growing spinach right now to just see, what does it feel like to grow this thing that comes in this giant bag or, plastic box in grocery stores. So just thank you for connecting us to our bodies in this way, and reconnecting to our own intention around what fuels that for us. So yeah, I hope that we can, this is the beginning of a relationship of connection. And I'd love to move us into breakouts to be able to continue the conversation around those intentions. I already saw some coming in the chat, but just, what this brings up for you. And sometimes talking about food, is not the easiest thing, and to just even put some attention on it. but that's, when we can apply our awareness to that, then we can shift our energy around it. So thank you, Whitney, for bringing that in. And we will turn to each other. We'll thank our YouTubers for being on with us today as well. And in our Zoom rooms, we'll turn to each other in small groups where the magic happens and share our name, where we're coming from. And today, this little saying that I have before we go into breakout rooms is more appropriate than ever, which is that we don't know what each other had for breakfast this morning, let alone the rest of our lives. But we might get to know a little bit more about breakfast today. So we'll just make space for everyone to be able to share. And we have about 20 minutes going into the breakout. So enjoy your time together, getting to know one another, and we'll see you back here in about 20 minutes. Thanks again, and thanks, Whitney. See you soon.